إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله عز وجل وخير الهدي هدي نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Allah Azza wa Jal has praised His messengers and prophets, peace be upon them, in the Quran, and has described them with certain characteristics that we as Muslims are encouraged to have them in us, to implement them in our lives. Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, verily they used to hasten on to do good deeds, and they used to call on us with hope and fear, and used to humble themselves before us. One of the prominent characteristics of the messengers of Allah and of the believers is the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. And usually a person falls in the state of fear either because he has committed something that he may be punished for, or he abandoned something that is mandatory, which eventually will lead to his torment and punishment. But also there is another cause of fear, and that is the greatness of the one you fear. And when it comes to Allah Azza wa Jal, all these types of fear are found. So we fear our shortcomings and sins. We fear our failure in doing what Allah has commanded us to do. But mostly we fear Allah Azza wa Jal because He is worthy of being feared. And fearing Allah Azza wa Jal is a sign of knowledge. Those who fear Allah are most knowledgeable of Him. Allah Azza wa Jal says, it is only those who have knowledge among His slaves that fear Allah. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. And this is what our Prophet ﷺ used to reiterate over and over again. Whenever an incident happens, he tells them, by Allah, I am the most knowledgeable of you all, and I'm the most fearful of Him. Because knowledge and fear go side by side. And this is why Only ignorance would fall into sin time after time, even if they hold the highest academic degrees in Islamic studies. So if a person has a PhD or more from Medina University, from Al-Azhar, from Jami'atul Imam, yet he's sinful, he's daring to abandon what Allah has ordered him to do, he falls into sin without any shame in his face, then let it be known that he is ignorant. Fearing Allah Azza wa Jal is something that each and every one of us must have, otherwise he will not enter Jannah. There are those who claim that they fear Allah Azza wa Jal, yet they display their ignorance through falling into sin. And unfortunately, Allah has sealed their hearts. So even if they are giving advice, they would not adhere. And they would think that Allah is talking to someone else, not to me. The advice befits others, but not me. Allah Azza wa Jal has told us about the benefits of fearing Him. And among the highest of these benefits is entering Jannah. Those who fear Allah will enter Jannah. And this is $1 million question that each of us must ask himself. Why are you still living on earth? What is your purpose? What is your mission and vision statement? Is it to become rich? Is it to have a house? Is it to get married? Is it to become prominent in your position or your career? Then you have it, or you've got it all wrong. Your main and sole objective is to enter paradise, and everything comes as a consequence. Everything comes as a bonus. But your main objective is to enter Jannah. Otherwise, you have failed miserably. Allah tells us about this beautiful benefit when He says, "But as for him who feared standing before his Lord and restrained himself from impure evil desires and lusts, verily paradise will be his adobe." May Allah make paradise my and your adobes as well. Among the benefits of fearing Allah Azza wa Jal is that the fear of Allah burns away all your desires and lusts that go against Allah's will, because you fear that you will be punished if you fall into them. What restrains me and you from doing something haram? Because there is punishment. It is like, and we are in a hospital, it is like when someone gives you honey but inserts into it poison. The taste is beautiful, but the effect and the consequence is horrific. Would anyone attempt to consume this honey with poison in it? Definitely not. And likewise, our desires and lusts that are prohibited. We have the attempt to do it, but when we remember Allah's wrath and torment, we refrain from that. Among the benefits of fearing Allah Azza wa Jal in this dunya is that when you fear Allah truly and sincerely, Allah Azza wa Jal will cast upon you His light. Allah would cast upon you this respect where everything on earth would fear you as well as a result. So when you fear Allah, everything else respects you and fears you. While if it is the opposite and the other way around, those who do not have full tawakkul on Allah Azza wa Jal, they do not trust Allah, so they fear their bosses, they fear their spouses, They fear their neighbors. They fear everyone else to the extent that they may fall into sin, not fearing Allah Azza wa Jal. In this case, Allah would make them afraid of everything on earth. That is why those who fear Allah Azza wa Jal always have a heart that is content, that is pleased, because they only fear Allah the Almighty. So whatever ever happens on earth, it's okay, because they are okay with Allah Azza wa Jal, not the other way around. And when it comes to fear, Muslims treat and deal with fear differently. There are those who went into extreme in fearing Allah Azza wa Jal, to the extent that their fear became crippling. And this is negative fear. They reached a level, they were so afraid to the extent that they have fallen into despair. In Arabic, it's known as al-yas. So they despair. They say, no matter what we do, Allah would admit us to hellfire. And as a consequence, they will leave worshipping Allah. They will consume more and more sins, because what's the use if even if we pray, even if we fast, Allah will throw us in hell. So might as well enjoy life. This kind of despair or negative fear is prohibited. Allah says in the Quran, and who despairs of the mercy of Allah, and who despairs of the mercy of his Lord except those who are astray. So whoever despairs has gone astray and will end up in hellfire. There are, on the other side, those who do not fear Allah truly. So they are completely the opposite. They claim and pretend to fear Allah Azza wa Jal, but actually they are sinful. They are indulging in what displeases Allah Azza wa Jal. We see so many of the Muslims after Taraweeh prayer, for example, they come to pray Taraweeh, and during Salat they weep, they cry, and they come out of Taraweeh prayer and they start smoking outside the masjid. And when you speak to one of them, he said, I have to go, there is a movie I have to catch. And they listen to music in their cars, and their women are not properly covered, and they don't have any problem with free mixing. Yet they claim they fear Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is why this kind of cold fear is not beneficial. When you see a Muslim indulging in dealing with riba, interest money, when you see a Muslim falling into sin after sin, when you find a Muslim bribing or taking money unlawfully from his company, when you see a Muslim or a Muslimah, a female, that are not wearing the proper Islamic clothes that Allah has ordered them to do, in this case, you know and acknowledge that these people are not truly fearful of Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is why the scholars of old times used to say, a person who cries and wipes his eyes is not someone who's fearful. A true fearful person is the one who leaves away the things that Allah would punish him for. So if you cry and wipe your eyes and you continue to sin, you're not fearful. A true fearful person, even if he does not cry, is the one who withholds himself, restrains himself in falling into sin or from not doing what Allah Azza wa Jal has mandated upon him. This is what is known as the positive fear, the one that drives you to Jannah. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, whoever is afraid will travel at night. The Arabs used to travel at night because it's colder, the weather is cool, and they can escape any enemy from detecting them. While if you travel at the daytime, the enemy can see you, and at the same time it's hard. So the Prophet says, whoever wants to escape, who's ever fearful, he will travel at night. And whoever travels at night will reach his destination. Let it be known that Allah's merchandise is expensive. And Allah's merchandise is Jannah. So in order to reach Jannah, you have to strive, you have to work hard, and you have to do your level best to fear, not to be deprived from entering it. I say what you hear, and I ask and pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive my sins and yours as well. So ask Allah for forgiveness. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. عباد Allah, as mentioned earlier, fear can be crippling and negative. But the fear that Allah is ordering us to have is the positive one. It is the fear that drives us to Jannah. And it is the fear that makes us progressive and productive in our lives. So the fear that we're supposed to have is not the one that would make us stay home, not work, not learn, not be active. This is not positive. The positive fear is that makes you progressive and productive, that makes you mix with the people and call them to Allah Azza wa Jal. It is the fear that makes you draw a line so that you would never cross, because you know that crossing this line makes you transgressive, makes you committing a sin. Fearing Allah Azza wa Jal is what the enemies of Islam condemn and blame Islam for. They say your religion is all on fear. And this is a big lie. Our religion is based on two wings. The wing of fear and the wing of hope. You hope in Allah's mercy. You are filled with loving Allah Azza wa Jal, but at the same time, you're fearful of Him. And anything on earth you are afraid of, you run the opposite direction. When you see a lion, you run away from it. Everything you fear on earth, you run away from it, except Allah Azza wa Jal. When you fear Him, you run to Him. Allah Azza wa Jal says, so flee to Allah. Verily I am a plain warner to you from Him. فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنِّي لَكُمْ مِنْهُ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. The only thing you run to when you're afraid is Allah the Almighty, because you know that He has the comfort of your heart. He has the provision, the sustenance of you and your family on this earth. There is no escape for you from Allah Azza wa Jal. So the only option you have is to fear Him, to love Him, and to hope for the best from Him. And unfortunately, the majority of Muslims are not fulfilling this. We are not doing this in our lives due to our ignorance. If you ask the Muslims about elections, about riots, about politics, about economy, about arts and movies, you'll always find an answer. But when you ask them about the beautiful names of Allah Azza wa Jal, what do you know about the one who you are worshipping? How many names of Allah can you memorize, can understand the meaning? This is a big problem. When you travel to a foreign country, you take all the information needed about it. How is it possible that we face Allah 5 times a day at least in prayer and we do not know Allah Azza wa Jal? This is why we fail to fear Allah as He ordained and as He commanded us to do. Therefore, I conclude my khutbah by praying to Allah Azza wa Jal that He guides me and you to the right way of fearing Him, whether in public or in secret. Because usually fearing Allah in public is easy. The biggest problem is when you fear Allah Azza wa Jal behind closed doors. The biggest problem is that when you fear Allah in a foreign country, when no one sees you except Allah, if you truly adhere and fear Him and hope for the best from Him, then let it be acknowledged that you are a true fearful person. Allahumma ghfir lana warhamna wa'afina wa'fu anna wa tawallana biri'ayatika wa la tahrimna. I'm reading these du'as in Arabic because it's difficult for me to translate it, but inshallah it's all authentic du'as and true. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اجعلنا من المتبعين لسنة نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من أن نكون من المبتدعين. اللهم أقم علم الجهاد واقمع أهل الشرك والفساد. ربنا اشف مرضانا. اللهم اشف مرضانا. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا وبلغ بما يرضيك آمالنا واختم اللهم بالباقيات الصالحات أعمالنا. ربنا اجعل ثأرنا وكيدنا على من ظلمنا وعادانا وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.